In 1911, Booker T. Washington came to Shreveport and gave almost an impromptu speech on a temporary grandstand right to my right, where the annex of the courthouse is today. No one was really told because the white establishment was really not interested. However, within an hour's notice, 2,000 to 3,000 people came right here, clogged up Texas Street and clogged up Marshall, and wanted to hear him. A photographer from the local newspaper, the Times, took his picture. The photographs taken that day are typical Booker T. Washington. He's animated, he's preaching, he's giving a very, very well-received speech, and people loved it. He was a star, there was no doubt about it. 4 years later, shortly before his death, he comes back, and he cannot be here because there were too many people that wanted to see him. So the venue was moved out to the fairgrounds, which is where they are today, about 4 miles west of here. And when Shreveport had 20,000 people, 10,000 people came out to listen to him. I think the first time the draw was curiosity. This was a very, very vibrant downtown. A lot of people worked here, and when they heard about it, people just left their businesses and came. If you look at the crowd, there's a lot of black faces, of course, but there's also a lot of white faces. And people just wanted to hear what this man, who was very, very famous, had to say. When he comes back, both times he's on a tour, when he comes back, people remembered the first time, and there was advance notice. And he really spoke to, I think, the needs of what people wanted to hear. Birth of a Nation had just come out as a movie. And times were tough for blacks, of course, in the South. But in Georgia and Alabama, it was a hard time. And so he was on a tour to the western part of the South. And he came here and he was really well received. Booker T. Washington, for his time, was one of the two great African-American voices, the other being W.B. Du Bois. And they did not get along. They didn't see things the same way. They were dipoles. And Washington, I think, for Southerners, struck a chord because they understood what he was saying. And he's still an important voice today. You know, often marginalized by more heated rhetoric. He is a voice of sanity. He, in many ways, is an earlier version of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He preached hard work. He preached unity. He preached the fact that we are of one people. We may be different colors, we may be different religions, we may be of different backgrounds, but we are still Americans and we are Southerners. And if we don't get along and we don't get things done as we should, nobody's going to help us. If you look at any picture of him on a stage, he's moving, he's gesturing, he is animated. He's always pumping his fist, he's always pointing, he's moving, and he's not looking up or around, he's looking right at people. And everybody there who was within earshot, I'm sure, thought for at least a while that he was speaking directly to them. He was looking directly at them. And as he looked at them, he spoke. He touched a chord.